Hey guys, glad you could join me for today's video. In this video, we'll be looking at the beneficial defensive and offensive enchants for a Shaman tank. So let's begin. When it comes to enchanting a head slot item defensively, the winner is Lesser Arcanum of Constitution, supplying 100 HP. This HP is a very significant amount. HP will not only help with incoming physical damage, but also magical damage. If we were to quantify and break down the value of 100 HP, it surpasses other enchants like 125 armor and 1% dodge. The armor enchant, for example, is nowhere near an amount where it would be better. It would need to be around 335 armor to be a contender, meaning even if you attribute a higher value to armor, it falls short. However, the dodge enchant on the other hand is not as drastic of a difference. So if you can't get 100 HP for some reason, at least settle for 1% dodge. In terms of an offensive head slot item enchant, Arcanum of Rapidity's 1% haste is what we seek, synergizing with so much from our toolkit and an overall great threat increase. I'd like to honorably mention Viduescent Vigilant Embrace, a potential contender if you're facing mana problems and are grasping for it wherever possible. When it comes to dungeon tanking, actually I'd side with this enchant just because the mana can be used for any spells that you're forced to use because of the possible random and sometimes chaotic behavior of party members. Next are shoulder enchants, with Chromatic Mantle of the Dawn being the best defensive option in Phase 5. In Phase 6, however, Fortitude of the Scourge is taken, which provides the highest amount of stamina from enchants, blowing Chromatic out of the water. Threat-wise, Might of the Scourge in Phase 6 if you're under the melee crit cap. If you're above the melee crit cap, then Power of the Scourge. But I have to point out you'd need best in slot gear alongside best in slot buffs to start considering Power of the Scourge. If you're Elemental Fury spec, which is 21.30.0, hands down go Power of the Scourge. For Phase 5, threat-wise, Zandalar Signet of Mojo takes the cake, followed by Zandalar Signet of Might slightly behind it. There is a scenario where Might can surpass Mojo under the conditions you're not casting Earthshock the moment it's active. For Cloak enchants, I would suggest enchant Cloak Dodge. All other enchants pale in comparison, and for focusing on threat, I would actually advise not getting a threat enchant, since we'd be looking at a meager 3 agility as the only possibility. Proceed at your own discretion. Moving on to chests, I side on Enchant Chest Major Health, granting 100 HP. Some will say Enchant Chest Greater Stats, which is +4 to all stats, the more hybrid version. However, 100 HP is a little bit more defensively universal, since it will help against incoming physical and magical damage, not to mention +4 to the offensive stats such as Intellect, Agility, and Strength is barely noticeable. Naturally, if you're looking to increase your threat, by all means go +4 stats. For bracers, defensively, I suggest Stamina. For threat, I suggest Strength. Glove-wise, the absolute killer is Enchant Gloves Threat, providing +2% threat. If you're absolutely having problems with survival, then +15 agility from Enchant Gloves Superior Agility. For legs, good old Arcanum of Constitution's 100 HP as a defensive enchant, and as a threat enchant, I would suggest Arcanum of Rapidity 1% haste. For our little footsies, Enchant Boots Greater Stamina for defense, and Enchant Boots Greater Agility for a threat. I should point out the Agility enchant is not far from beating the Stamina enchant as the winner for defensive enchants, so Agility is both good offensively and defensively. Weapon-wise, hands down the Crusader enchant, which massively bolsters strength, and therefore threat. However, remember that when in combat, you can always switch your weapon out, meaning you can also switch out its enchant as well. If at any time your survival is looking grim, swap to a defensive weapon which has defensive stats, and make sure it's enchanted with Enchant Weapon Agility. For shield enchants, enchant shield greater stamina. For threat enchants, there really isn't a enchant. You could make the argument Thorium Shield Spike is a threat enchant, however, it relies on your block chance, which we don't have much of, and the spike damage is mitigated by the target's armor. I'll leave this up to you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, keep an eye out for my next video where I talk about how to prepare for the expansion The Burning Crusade as a Shaman tank. Anyway guys, keep it fresh and exciting out there, and I'll catch you next time.